But let me tell you something powerful. In a world where everyone's trying to impress with words, gestures, photos, and flashy performances, the most unforgettable moment, the one that truly bonds a man to you, can happen in complete silence. There is one silent move. It's so simple there, so subtle that when done with intention, it speaks louder than anything you could ever say. It bypasses his ears and goes straight to his heart. It says, "You're safe here. You matter here. I see you here." And that's the kind of moment that doesn't just spark desire, it builds bonding. Emotional, lasting, deep bonding. Because men don't fall in love with the loudest woman in the room. They fall in love with the one who makes them feel seen without having to perform. And this silent move, it tells him, realize that you don't need to prove anything to me. I already feel you. So what is it? It's the silent pause where you hold him without needing to speak, perform, or distract, where your presence tells him everything he needs to know. It could be during a hug, in bed, after he's opened up, after sex, or when he's quiet, unsure, or lost in thought. It's that moment where you don't rush to fill the silence. You just stay with your hands on him. You stay with your eyes soft. You stay while he breathes, processes, realize there, or just needs to be. It's one of the most feminine, graceful, powerful things you can do, And now I'll give you 6 key moments to use this silent move to create a bond that no words can replicate. 8 after he shared something vulnerable. Use the silent pause to create emotional bonding. Most people don't realize how rare it is for a man to truly open up. Society doesn't train men to share. It trains them to tough it out. They're to push their feelings aside, to speak in facts, not emotions. So when a man, especially one who values his masculinity, opens up to you, when he tells you something raw, honest, realize they're or real, that's a sacred moment. It's not just a risk. He's handing you a piece of his armor and hoping you don't throw it back at him. Your instinct might be to fill that space quickly, to comfort him, to say something reassuring, to solve the issue there. But what if I told you that the most powerful thing you could do in that moment is to say absolutely nothing? Just be there. Just hold that space. Look into his eyes. Reach for his hand. Then let the silence linger, because silence, when filled with loving presence, becomes safety. And safety is what bonds a man deeper than desire ever could. When he says, Ria's there, I feel like I'm failing, or I don't know what I'm doing with my life, or my father and I never really had a relationship. That's not your cue to fix it. Your cue to feel it with him, to show him that his pain doesn't make you uncomfortable, that you can hold his truth without running from it, that you can witness his mess and still his strength. So you reach over and gently touch his arm. You give him the gift of your stillness. You keep your eyes on his, not pushing, not flinching, that you let the emotion settle. And in that quiet pause where your energy says, I'm right here with you, something miraculous happens. He's bonds. Not because you solved the problem there, but because you stayed in it with him. That moment says more than 1,000 words ever couldn't. You don't need to be anything but you right now. They realize that I'm not going anywhere. It's intimacy in its purest form, the kind that doesn't scream, demand, or chase it, but anchors. They're the kind that allows a man to feel emotionally safe in a way he rarely ever gets to experience. And that safety, when it's paired with desire, admiration, and feminine presence, that's the cocktail that makes a man feel like he could build his entire future around you. So the next time he opens up, don't rush. Don't fix. Don't fumble for a perfect response. Just give him the most powerful move of all, your calm, quiet, connected silence. That's how you turn a moment of confession into a lifetime imprint. Realize that when you're lying next to him and he's quiet, use stillness to create soul-deep presence. There's a moment that happens in nearly every connection worth keeping. The noise fades, the talking slows, the room falls into that sacred quiet, and suddenly it's just you and him there, lying, no performance, no plans, just breath, skin, silence. And that, my friend, is where bonding either deepens or disappears, because so many people get uncomfortable in silence. They panic. They start talking just to avoid the stillness. They scroll, forget, shift. They're But a woman who understands her power, a woman who's emotionally grounded, sensual and still, she doesn't need to fill the silence. She owns it when he's lying next to you, quiet. Not cold. They're not checked out, just present in a different way. And you move closer without a word. That's the move he never forgets. That's the energy that makes his nervous system relax. That's when his whole body says, I can exhale here. You wrap a leg over his. You rest your hand on his chest. You press your forehead gently to the side of his jaw. Not a word, not a question, just being. That silence, that closeness, it communicates more than 1,000 conversations. It says that you don't need to perform right now. You don't need to lead the moment. I'm happy right here doing nothing, just existing next to you. And that there, to a man who's used to pressure, to hustle, to always being on, is like medicine. You become the peace he didn't even realize he was craving. There, you become the space where he doesn't have to be impressive. He just has to be present, and you love him for that. Most women want to bond through conversation. And yes, words matter, but men often bond through experience, through energy, through the moment where he looks at you lying beside him in the dark and thinks, she's not trying to get anything from me. She's just here with me, breathing, close, real. And if you can be the woman who makes that silence feel like connection instead of distance, he'll never forget you there, because here's the secret: in what we say matters far less than what we create. And when you create the kind of stillness that feels like safety, comfort there, and slow burning intimacy, he will associate you with peace. Not chows, not pressure, just peace. So don't rush the moment. Don't pull away. Don't turn on the TV or grab your phone. Realize that there, just stay. Let your body speak what your words don't need to. There. Because in that space where your touch says, I'm here, and your silence says, I'm not going anywhere, a man bonds with you in a way that rewires his entire experience of love. There. And he won't even know how to explain it. He'll just know you feel like home during a long hug, when you don't let go first. Let the embrace speak what words can't. Realize that there's something sacred about a hug when it's real, not the polite squeeze you give a friend, not the casual see you later, wrap up. I'm talking about the kind of hug where two people melt into each other, where there's no rush, no tension, just breath, body, warmth, and presence there. And within that moment lies one of the most powerful silent moves you can make with a man. It happens when you hug him, and you simply don't let go first. That may seem like nothing, just a second longer, but to him speaks volumes, because most of the time men are the ones holding it all together. They're the ones who carry the pressure to be strong, to be in control. They realize that they're to be the rock, and often they never get to fall into someone else. No one holds them, no one gives them permission to exhale. But when he's in your arms, they realize that they're, and you gently wrap yours around him tighter, just for a moment longer. You tell him, I'm not just here when you're impressive, I'm here when you're human. You don't always have to be the strong one. You can rest in me. It's so quiet, so still, but so deeply bonding, because that extra few seconds says they realize that I'm not rushing away. I feel something here. I'm not afraid of closeness. And that makes him feel emotionally safe in a way he probably doesn't even know he needs. They realize that what makes it powerful is that it's not forced. You're not clinging. You're not dramatic. You're simply holding the moment there. And if he relaxes into you, even the slightest bit, you'll feel it. His body will soften. His breath will slow. That's the silent surrender. So the next time you hug him, after a deep conversation, after sex, or just when you sense he needs it, hold on just a little longer than you normally would. Let him be the one who releases first. Realize that let your hands linger on his back. Let your head rest against his chest or his shoulder. No words, no noise, just connection. Because in that space where you don't let go first, you give him something raring, the experience of being held, not for who he tries to beg, but for who he is. And that kind of silent gesture, it anchors a man to you. They realize that it reminds him you're not just a lover, you're his safe space. And that's what keeps him coming back, not for the thrill, but for the depth after making love, when you just stay in the stillness, because true intimacy begins where the noise ends. Most people think the magic of intimacy happens during the act itself. The moans, they're the rhythm, the movement. But what if I told you that the most unforgettable part comes after, in that quiet, delicate space where bodies are still entangled, where breath is heavy, where no one's speaking, but everything is felt. That's where true bonding lives. And the woman who knows how to stay in that stillness, not rush to cover herself, not jump to clean up, then not break the moment with a laugh or a scroll, is the woman who makes a man feel something so rare, he won't even have words for it. The true thing, most men are used to sex ending in disconnection. The pleasure was there, the heat was real, but the moment after, it often feels cold. Rush realized that there, like the lights came on and the spell broke. And that's what makes him feel like it was just a physical experience. But when you stay, when you lay your head on his chest, there, when your hand trails softly along his stomach or arm, when your body stays close and your presence stays opened, you give him a moment that doesn't feel like sex. It feels like home. You're telling him without a single word, I'm not afraid of closeness. This moment wasn't just about the act. It was about you. I'm still here. And that stillness after sex, when you remain with him without speaking, without rushing, without pulling away, becomes the very thing that bonds his heart to yours. Because in that pause, his nervous system settles. Realize that his heart rate slows, his thoughts soften, and he realizes he's safe. He doesn't need to perform anymore. He doesn't need to lead. He can just be. And you're still with him. That kind of feminine presence, it's magnetic. It doesn't chase. It doesn't beg. It just holds the space. And men remember it because they so rarely get it. It's not just sensual, it's emotional. It's not just conforming, it's transforming. So next time you're with him, after the passion settles and you both lie there, don't say anything. Just stay. Just breathe with him. Let your silence tell him what your heart feels. I'm not just here for the high. I'm here for you. And that simple, still, quiet moment, that's what makes you unforgettable. When he's stressed and you say nothing but sit close, because love is louder in silence than in speeches. When a man is stressed, it can feel like he's emotionally locked away. His energy shifts, his response is shortened. His mind starts racing ahead, trying to find solutions, fix outcomes, or carry weight that no one else sees. And in those moments, it's easy to misinterpret his behavior. You might think, he's pulling away, or worse, he doesn't want me here. But often what's really happening is this: he's overwhelmed. He doesn't know how to bring someone into that space with him without feeling like a burden. And here's where you come in. Not with advice, not with a million questions, and not even with affection that demands a response, but with presence. Real, grounded, feminine presence. You sit next to him. You don't ask him to talk if he doesn't want to. You don't try to fix it. You don't make it about you. You simply move closer. Maybe your knee touches his. Maybe your hand gently rests on his leg. Maybe you lean your head on his shoulder without saying a single word. And that move, so simple, so still, is everything. Because what it tells him, without you having to explain it, is this: realize that you don't have to carry this alone. I see something's heavy for you, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm not scared of your silence. I trust it. Most people flee from tension, or they try to fix to ease their own discomfort. But when you show him that you can sit beside his tension without needing to erase it, that's when he starts to bond with you in a way that feels safe, and safe is rare. In fact, for a lot of men, it's safer to keep their stress to themselves than risk looking vulnerable there. So when you don't pressure him to open up, but also don't abandon him emotionally, you become a calming presence. Realize that they're not just someone who loves him in the easy moments, but someone who's anchored during the hard ones. Sometimes the healing sentence you can deliver isn't spoken at all. Realize that it's the silence you share with him when his world feels loud. It's the unspoken messaging. I see you. I'm here. Realize that you're still enough. And you might not get a dramatic reaction in the moment, but trust me, he'll remember that stillness. He'll remember that you didn't rush to fill the space. They realize that you let him have his process and you stayed right beside him. That's the kind of move that makes a man look at you and think, this is the woman I want in my corner for life. Not because you fixed his world, but because you sat quietly beside it and reminded him he didn't have to face it alone. That when you make eye contact in silence and don't look away, because real intimacy lives in the space between words. Most people think connection is built through conversation, and yes, words can be powerful, but there's a kind of communication that runs even deeper, one that doesn't need language at all. It's that moment. Quiet, realize that there, unspoken, when your eyes meet his and you don't look away, you don't giggle nervously, you don't rush to say something, there, you don't drop your gaze out of fear of being too much. You hold it. In that pause, that silent moment of unbroken eye contact, something profound happens. He sees you, realize that they're not the polished version of you, not the woman who's trying to be sexy or impressive or agreeable. He sees the real you, present, confident, feeling something you're not afraid to let him feel too. And even more importantly, he feels seen, because most men go through life unseen, admired maybe, respected, feared even, but truly seen, realize that they're for who they are beneath the armor. That's rare. And in that moment where you meet his gaze and stay there with him, not flinching, not running, they realize that they're not trying to be anything but in it. You tell him without speaking, realize there, I'm not scared of this. I'm not scared of you. I'm not afraid of being real. That kind of eye contact is intimacy at its most distilled. It bypasses performance. It cuts through walls. It invites his soul to come forward, not just body. And whether it's across the dinner table, curled in bed, or right after making love, that kind of look lands. It lingers. It doesn't matter how long you hold it. What matters is the energy behind it. Are you willing to let him feel you in that moment? Are you willing to let yourself be seen too? Realize that that's the real secret. Eye contact is a two-way mirror. If you're looking at him with judgment, with a wall up, with fear, you can bet he'll feel it there. But if you're looking at him with softness, with curiosity, with emotional openness, that's when something electric happens. That's when presence becomes passion. When quiet becomes intimacy, he'll remember that look long after he forgets the words you said, long after night ends. He'll remember how your gaze held him, how he felt drawn in, safe. They realized that there and wanted all at once. And that's what makes this simple move so unforgettable. You don't need to be the loudest woman in the room. Realize that you don't need to be the most experienced or the most seductive. You just need to have the courage to look him in the eye. They realize that stay there and let him feel how much of you is available in that moment. Because when you can meet a man in silence there with nothing but your eyes and your energy, you don't just hold his attention, you hold a piece of his soul. So what makes a man bond with you truly deeply in a way that lasts? It's not just how good the chemistry is. It's not the games, the chase, or even how well you perform. It's the moments between the moments. The silence you're not afraid to share. They realize that they're the presence you give without needing to fill the air with words there, because in those moments, when you hold him after he's opened up, when you lie next to him and just breathe him, first, when you hug him and don't let go, stay after the passion for desk, when you sit quietly with him in his stress, when you lock eyes and don't flinch, you're telling him something powerful. You don't have to earn my attention. You already have it. You become more than a woman he desires. You become the woman he trusts. And that trust, that feeling of emotional safety, realize that it creates a bond that no amount of seduction can manufacture, because any woman can impress him. But the woman who can stand beside him in silence, with softness, with depth, with feminine stillness, she's the one who stays with him in his heart, in his memory, in his craving. So I want you to remember this. You don't need to talk your way into connection. You just need to be there, fully, calmly, openly. Because sometimes love doesn't speak. Sometimes love just stays. If this resonated with you, realize that hit that button right now. It helps spread these messages to women who need them. Drop a comment below in which silent move have why you tried. or want to try? And don't forget to subscribe, because I share weekly tools on how to build real, lasting connection with high-quality men, not through games, but through grounded feminine power. You are not too quiet.
Yeah.
You are not too soft much. In fact, you are exactly what the right man is silently craving. Stay grounded, stay soft, and stay powerful. I'll see you in the next one.